Every day, we make decisions, some small, some life-changing. But what if I told you that your brain is playing tricks on you? From procrastination to overconfidence, hidden mental shortcuts called cognitive biases shape the way we think, act, and choose. In this video, we'll uncover the most common cognitive biases from confirmation bias to the sunk cost fallacy and show you how they influence your decisions every single day. Plus, I'll share simple strategies to outsmart these mental traps and make smarter choices. If you're ready to unlock the secrets of your mind and make better decisions, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's explore the fascinating world of cognitive biases together. Why do we choose one product over another, even when they're almost identical? The answer lies in something called cognitive biases. These hidden mental shortcuts shape our decisions every day, often without us realizing it. Selective search for evidence, also known as confirmation bias, happens when we only gather facts that support what we already believe. Imagine researching a diet. You're more likely to focus on success stories and dismiss critical studies. Sometimes, we stop searching for answers too soon. This is premature termination of search for evidence. For example, a student solving a puzzle might settle for the first solution that works, even if there's a better one. Cognitive inertia is the unwillingness to change old habits, even when circumstances change. Think of a manager clinging to an old marketing plan, despite evidence that it no longer works. Selective perception leads us to filter out information we don't find relevant or agreeable. A classic example? A die-hard sports fan ignoring a fair call against their favorite team. Wishful thinking is when we view situations through an overly optimistic lens. Like when a student puts off studying, believing they'll be more motivated tomorrow. Choice supportive bias distorts our memory to favor the decisions we've already made. For instance, justifying an expensive smartphone by focusing only on its perks. Recency bias makes us focus on recent information and overlook the past. This could mean valuing a colleague's last project more than their long-term contributions. Repetition bias makes us believe information we've heard often, regardless of its accuracy. That's why some myths persist, even when they're debunked. Anchoring bias occurs when the first piece of information, like a high price, influences all subsequent decisions. It's a common tactic in negotiations. Groupthink happens when peer pressure discourages dissent. Imagine a team going along with a bad idea just to avoid conflict. Source credibility bias leads us to judge information based on who delivers it. Valid advice can be ignored if it comes from someone we dislike. Incremental decisions can trap us in escalating commitments. For example, pouring money into a failing project just because you've already invested so much. Attribution asymmetry means taking credit for successes while blaming external factors for failures. It's a way to protect our self-esteem. Role fulfillment happens when we conform to others' expectations of us. A team leader might make decisions based on what the team expects, rather than what they truly believe. We often underestimate uncertainty and overestimate our control. Gamblers, for example, might believe they can predict random outcomes. Framing bias influences how we perceive options, while the sunk cost fallacy makes us stick with losing investments. Think of someone keeping an unused gym membership just because they've already paid. Prospect theory shows how we approach gains and losses differently. We'll avoid risks for gains but take risks to avoid losses. Optimism bias makes us overestimate positive outcomes and dismiss negative ones. Like booking a vacation, convinced the weather will clear up. Reference class forecasting helps reduce bias by comparing situations to similar past events. A project manager might use it to set achievable deadlines. Cognitive biases are a natural part of how we think, but understanding them gives you the power to make smarter, more informed choices. Now that we've seen how biases sneak into our decisions, let's talk about how to outsmart them. Here are some tips and examples to help you make better choices. Biases like premature termination or wishful thinking thrive on rushed decisions. The next time you feel pressured to decide, take a deep breath and reflect on whether you've considered all the facts. For example, before jumping on a limited time offer, Ask yourself, do I really need this? Break free from groupthink or confirmation bias by inviting diverse opinions. If you're making a major decision like launching a new product, seek feedback from colleagues, friends, or even critics. Hearing different perspectives forces you to see blind spots. Combat framing and optimism bias by focusing on facts, not feelings. If you're choosing between investments, rely on performance data instead of flashy marketing or a hunch. Challenge confirmation bias by actively seeking evidence against your assumption. For instance, if you're convinced you'll ace an exam by cramming, research why last-minute studying often backfires. Use reference class forecasting to avoid repeating mistakes. If your last project exceeded its deadline, ask what went wrong and apply those lessons to your new plan. Setting goals helps avoid the sunk cost fallacy or incremental commitment traps. Instead of saying, "I've come this far," might as well keep going. Focus on whether your current efforts align with your objectives. We tend to underestimate uncertainty due to the illusion of control. Embrace the unknown. Plan for risks like packing for rain even if the forecast looks sunny. Repetition bias works both ways. Reinforce accurate, beneficial ideas by hearing or practicing them often. For instance, repeat positive affirmations or study proven methods to create lasting habits. Reframe choices to see them clearly. Instead of focusing on what you'll lose, think about what you'll gain. This helps neutralize framing bias and leads to smarter decisions. Don't let source credibility bias fool you. Judge advice based on content, not the person delivering it. Even someone you dislike might have valuable insights. Understanding your biases is the first step to better decisions. By practicing these strategies, you can move from reactive to intentional choices, unlocking your full potential.